That's interesting. Very interesting, actually. Oh, yeah, don't look bad. We'll see. We'll see. Phew. Okay. I don't know. Will this be better? It's not looking like it. It's weird. I've never had it only go on micro like this. So, but I got a new lens filter. So that's what I'm testing out tonight. Is my new lens filter on the Live. Um, my daughter took my other one and it was framed. It went on my flipper. She took the frame. I have no idea where it is. So. I'll be in and out of the Live, just so you guys know as well. Getting my kiddos all squared away for the night, all cleaned up, and hang out downstairs. But you can hear one of them in the shower right now. Maybe, I don't know. But if you guys have any questions or anything, just shoot. I'm just sitting here enjoying it while little one is in the shower, that's all. Figured I'd share the tank with everyone again. I feel like lives are a little easier than, well, not that it's easier than making a video. Video's pretty easy, but um, you can definitely answer a lot more questions in a live than you can a video. But hey, Brandon, what's a setup like this cost? So this is a Fluval Evo 13.5. It's 13.5 gallon. Yeah, you can see the two clownfish up in the back corner. That's where they like to stay. That's kind of their home. But it's a 13.5 gallon all-in-one system. Brand new, these I believe go for $199, and it comes with a light, your pump, pretty much everything you need to set up besides rock, your salt water, and sand if you choose sand. So they're relatively inexpensive to get into the hobby with one of these. The light could definitely handle softies and LPS coral. I'm not too sure if it would be able to handle SPS. That's why I have a upgraded light. But I also upgraded quite a few things on this. I have an upgraded return pump. I also have 2 wave makers in here, and as you can see, a hefty supply of coral. But total, this system right here, so $199 for the tank, $100 for the light, so we're at 3, $60 for each power head, so what, 440? No, 420. And then luckily I have really good friends in the hobby, and I got a lot of the frags in the system from friends. I also did buy some as well, but pays off to have people you know in the hobby, that's for sure. But yeah, you could probably definitely build one of these pretty easily for, I don't know, $300 if you didn't even, like, if all you did was upgrade the light in the return pump. Return pump I think was like $50, so $199, $150. There you go. I really like the whole setup of the Evo. The only thing I don't like stock is the lid. I thought the lid was quite ugly, so that's another reason why I removed it. What's up, Only the Details? How's it going? OTD Reefs, how's it going? But yeah, it's a pretty inexpensive starter tank. Very easy to maintain with just water changes. The colors are super bright right now because it's pretty sure it's on almost 100% blues. The lights are ramping down because it's coming time for the lights to come off. So yeah, blues are at 100% and whites and greens and reds are at 0. What's up, Joel? Be right back, guys. I just gotta get my little one out of the shower. Alrighty, I'm back. Oh, what was that? Oh, sorry, Brandon. Yeah, no problem. If you're looking at getting like a small tank like this size, there is a system that comes with like, it's the what's it called? Hello Reef, I believe is what it's called. It's like literally an all-in-one setup. You buy, comes with the tank, your light, your return pump, your filter chamber, with like your filter sock and everything. It's an AI blade light, so it's a pretty decent light. It also comes with your rock and your sand. What else does it come with? Your bacteria to start the tank, a salinity tester, and I believe, I could be wrong here saying this, but I believe it also comes with your, basically your nitrifying bacteria like testers. I believe that's what it is. So that's something to look into. It's I think it's a 15-gallon Hello Reef is what it's called. But yeah, it's a pretty neat setup where you can just buy everything. That way you don't have to like worry about trying to find rock or sand, or not that it's a big hassle, but it's kind of cool that they have like an all-in-one kind of setup where you just buy it and it ships everything right to your house, all in one package. So it's pretty cool. What's up, BK? How you doing? But not much has changed on the Reef. Other than I got the Duncan out front now. I think I went over that in the last live. But my buddy Levi 207 Nano Reefing, we went to a frag swap, and he's got the best luck when it comes to like raffles and stuff. He bought an arm's length of raffle tickets, and he basically put them in like pretty much everything that was there, and he won two things. He won a bucket of Kalkwasser, and he won a frag rack from a semi-local reefer, or reef shop I should say, Backwoods Reefing in New Hampshire. They also, you can kind of see it right there. It's on this rock. It's basically like a like man-made rock plug holder, I guess you would say. They had a bunch of those, and he got a nice little frag rack for his tank. So that was pretty cool. He gave me two of the rocks because he was like, well, I don't need all of these frag rocks. I was like, yeah, well, I'll take one. I'll put the Duncan on it. He gave me an extra one too, but I'm good, BK. You know, just a spring vacation here, and been hanging out with the kids. We've had a gorgeous week of 60 degrees up here in Maine, so that feels like, you know, just coming out of winter, that feels like pure summer. So we've been enjoying it, and haven't done much on the tank, which I don't do much on the tank anyways. I just haven't filmed any videos or anything. So I figured, well, I'll just do a live and let everybody see the tank. I should show it more in the midday when the lights are really, when the whites are on and everything like that. It's been growing on me. Not that I didn't like the whites, but whites kind of wash out the colors. But during midday, this tank is really, looks really good. It's still really blue because I don't really have high whites. And I say whites, they're white, red, and green. But on this light with the controller. It basically goes whites and blues. And yeah. Last time I asked you recommendations, I got steel at the local fish stop. 20 euros for one head green branching hammer. And in dollars. Nice. I'm not a torch guy. I I just don't like torches. It's not my thing. I do like frog spawns and hammers and frammers. I think those are cool. So that's pretty cool that you got a nice little steel there. But yeah, torches are pretty much the hype. So I try to stay away from the hype, I guess you would say, like the hyped corals. So I don't have any Gonnies in here. Mostly because I really don't have any room for a Gonnie or a torch because they'd sting everything. But, I mean, I probably could do a frog spawn in here, but he wouldn't be very long. I don't know as if they need green and red light, but just whites would, I guess you would say, would just make it. I don't know if it. I don't really know. I know they get most of their photosynthetic energy from the blue spectrum, so that's why most lights are more geared towards blue. I think it's like 450 nm on blue in like UV spectrum. So that's where most of the energy for corals come from, like how they absorb it. But white lights also look like, so you can see the fish is another thing that white lights are good for. But acros like some white light. Acros really like intense light, but I'm not really sure on that question of whether or not they actually need the greens and the reds. But yeah, it's a good question. I should kind of look into that, see if that's something I can find. But this tank ran for a while on just 100% blues. I didn't have any white at all. But after a while, when I started getting a couple of acros, I started ramping up my whites. And they don't really get to a point where like the tank even looks washed out. It still looks really blue. But when you first do it, when you're always blue and you go to like even 5% white, you're like, what the heck, dude? The tank looks like super washed out, but it really isn't. And it's nice to take pictures of the coral when they're under a little bit of white light, because like especially on the Oregon Tort, you can't even really tell. It's right here. You can't even really tell the blue because the light in the tank is so blue. It kind of looks a little green. But underneath some white lights, the blue on that is like the deepest blue you will see. It's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, I just got some what's it called? Well, I had to buy some frag plugs, and I also bought little frag tiles so that I can grow out some zoas. I'm going to get them attached to that and grow them out. That way I can grow out in the frag tank that I am eventually going to get my thumb out of my behind and build. But I already have to do a number on these purple monsters right here. They're crowding the hell out of the green slimer. So it's kind of... let's see if I can't get a little bit better of a picture. And they're crowding it, and it's not bleaching, but it's... Well, I guess in a way, it's just losing its color because they're, swarming the hell out of the base. So I gotta cut those guys back, and I'm gonna try and cut them out with some razor blades here and stick them to some frag plugs. Well, there's kind of like I think there's probably the exact amount. I'm not sure. I know there's encrusting, there's branching, there's plating. Um, there's also like a combination of plating and branching. The Setosa Outback is kind of similar to it's encrusting and branching, but it also like the branches are super thick, like super super thick. Um, so I don't know the exact number of different species or whatever, but if I made a recommendation, it would be if you ever want a Montipora, um, stick to the branching. um, I say that because the encrusting will smother stuff with the amount of growth it does. Plating will grow super super fast, and it will shadow things really quickly. Um, and then like you got the encrusting plus branching Setosa out back. Um, that thing is, well, it started shadowing the Duncan. That's why the Duncan's out front now, because it just grew so fast. I haven't clipped it back, and I don't really want to clip anything back until it's really being a nuisance, and then I can frag it. Um, but yeah, and when it comes to Monties, if you are into SPS in any way, I highly recommend starting with some Monties, um, branching style. You can get, well, that one right there is a Forest Fire Digi. I also have some Bubblegum Digi in here. I have a, let me see if you can't see it, right on my fingertip right there. That's just a um, red Digi. You got the Rainbow. I can't remember who it is. Jason? No, it's not Jason Fox. It's Tyree Rainbow, I believe. But yeah, they're very quick growers. So if you got some Monty in there, make sure you place them where you can take care of them because it could go not south, but you could have some really quick growth, especially if they really decide they like your tank. They will eat up the alkalinity really quick too. So that's another thing you got to keep an eye on. But if I was to get branching, is green and orange the same? I like the orange, but green is cheaper. The same. I wouldn't say the same as in like they can't touch each other. They'll probably kill each other. One will kill the other one, but same as in growth. Yeah, I would say the green grows much faster, but the orange also grows quite fast. Um, they have a few colors. I'd really like to get the, I think it's the German blue, I believe is one of them, but I don't. I'm out of room in this tank, so this tank is basically in grow out mode, I guess you would say, and coast mode. But yeah, if you can get a green one, the green is super bright. It looks really good. Orange as well. So if you can get one or either of them, I mean, if you can get your hands on either one, I think you'll be happy. You don't need like super high flow for them. They can do well in medium flow, medium light, and all the way up to like super intense flow and light. What's up, Gary? You influenced me to do an SPS fool. Oh, that's cool. Um, yeah, that's. I don't know. People. I don't want to say it's not challenging because it definitely has its challenges, but if you can, stick to the basics and do what you're supposed to do, you'll be successful. I mean, even tanks that have issues, you'll probably still be successful. Start slow with, not so hard SPS, acros being the hard ones, quote unquote hard. Um, I say quote unquote hard because honestly, the Forest Fire Digi has probably given me more trouble than any of my acros so far. And I say trouble because it's supposed to have bright green skin, kind of like the green Slimer. So the skin on the inside is supposed to be like super bright green. I don't know what happened, but like over a 1 to 2 week period, it kind of just like went bluish pale, and it's slowly been regaining its green skin back. But other than that, I mean, it still grows like a weed. It's grown to this size now probably 3 times. I've fragged it multiple times already in this past year. So, what kind of salt am I using? I use Reef crystals, instant ocean reef crystals. I don't like to spend a lot of money, so I can usually find Reef crystals on a pretty decent deal. And I've always used it from when I started in the hobby way back in 2010. So for me, it's if it works, that's what I use, and I've always used it. I don't try to steer away from anything that works for me. Not that I haven't tried, other products, but for me, Reef crystals is the price is right and it works, so it's hard to veer away from it. Yeah, orange is kind of its own cool color, so I have a couple of orange pieces in here, but they're mushrooms. I got the Jawbreaker right here. I guess you could say the rainbow is kind of orange. And that Setosa is not orange. It's like pink, but it looks orange through the filter. So, but it's pink. It's actually a grafted one. It's got a neon, not a neon, but a UV, like a green UV strip through the middle of it. I really got to get my UV flashlight so I can show that. And then on the back side, I have 3. They call them Charizard mushrooms. It's just a Rhodactis. It's just an orange Rhodactis, but they called it Charizard. And I also have a Sunkissed Bounce on the backside with orange bounces. So, yeah, it's not common, but I wouldn't say it's uncommon. Definitely your greens are much, much more common. So, what's up, Levi? How's it going, buddy? 207 Nano Reefing. That's my buddy Levi. That's the one who gave me the Duncan's rock right here. Gave me 2 of them actually, and he's got the lucky hand when it comes to raffles or whatever it is. Gary, I have an innovative Marine 30 long I'm trying to do SPS on right now, dealing with a nasty ugly stage. I bought a nano reactor so I can try to run Roaphos on the tank to help get rid of the possible silicates that may be in the tank. I mean, I only use any kind of phosphate remover if my phosphates are high. I don't try to, like, how are your phosphates, I guess would be the question, but ugly stages are just part of the hobby, unfortunately. But, you just keep doing your water changes when you need to, and you'll eventually get out of the ugly stage. You might move into a different one. But luckily for me in this tank, I don't know if it was, my phosphates are low. I probably wouldn't run Roaphos. Definitely probably not in a reactor. I definitely would not run it in a reactor. You'll probably bottom out your phosphates pretty quickly in a reactor. 0.04 phosphates are not bad. That's actually a really good number. But for me, I had a huge outbreak of Alva in the tank. I think it was like probably 2 or 3 months into it. I didn't really have any like crazy diatoms or anything. I got my sea urchin, which you can kind of see out back right here. He's carrying around a frag of this guy right here, the sunset, or rainbow. Sorry, not sunset, the rainbow Monty. But I attest my I guess this tank's success of, I ran an algae reactor for the first year on 12 hours opposite schedule of the lights. And I was feeding, I don't want to say heavy, but the fish get fed twice a day on a auto feeder. So there was definitely food going in. I was feeding the corals, but I also had a good amount of Chaeto in the back in my algae reactor that was kind of taking care of the issue. So, but Nanoman's Reef. What's up, Nano? What's up, man? Beautiful tank. Thanks, dude. I appreciate all the love you've been giving on the videos, too. Do you test with test kit or ICP? I've never done the ICP on this. I do want to do one just to, like, kind of see where my levels are. But when it comes to testing, I test alkalinity once or twice a week. And everything else I test, this is bad, but I test it when I feel like it. I don't recommend that. I obviously recommend testing at least once a week, your nitrates, your phosphates, your calcium and everything, but I know if my alkalinity is staying the same, my calcium is probably right around the same, and my magnesium is usually right around the same because I do my water change every week. So I just stick on my maintenance schedule and, you know, I don't veer from it. Even if I'm a day late, I still do it, like, verbatim. So I started the tank with cured Australian in Jakarta. I've been curing for about 4 months. The live rock could be leaching silicates. Yeah, that's true. I just, when you have low phosphates like that already, it's, man, you're running the risk of bottoming them out and possibly getting another issue come in. That's the only reason I say not to. But it's been a long time since I've had to deal with, like, dinos or anything like cyanobacteria. Knock on wood. I'm sure I will. I know the steps that I'll be taking if that ever comes up, but right now the tank is heavily stocked in a cleanup crew. I thoroughly believe in a very heavy cleanup crew if you can. Works really well. You can feed pretty heavy and they can take care of the issue relatively with ease, especially if it's not too overgrown before you get a heavy stock of cleaners. They'll, you know, they'll kill it back, but if you got some long stuff, it will be an issue. But what auto feeder do you use? Just a cheap $20 one. I think I bought it off Amazon. It has the ability to feed 4 times a day. You can set the time for it. It's rechargeable, so you plug it into like a USB charger, and it's honestly, the battery lasts for a long time. I think the last time I charged it was like 5 months ago, and it's still going. I think it's got half a battery left, so it's the only thing I don't like about it is if you have a small tank like this, it's not that it's hard to dial in the amount of feeding, you just kind of have to modify a little bit. All I did was, because the mouth is kind of big on it, so you can really overfeed if you don't close up that mouth a little bit on it. But I just took some tape and went over, I think, like a quarter of the mouth, so it didn't dump a whole bunch in at one point in time. But I also have a feeder ring up at the top of my return, and that kind of holds the food right there so it doesn't just fly all around. It does fly around because I don't turn my pumps off. I don't believe in turning the pumps off for the food. That's just me. A lot of people do it, but for me, when these fish are in the ocean, they're not getting spoon-fed food. They're kind of all over the place. So can I ask what brand test kit you use or recommend? I use the basic API Master Reef kit. So I use that for my calcium. I use that for my phosphate, my nitrate. I use a Hanna checker for my alkalinity. And I use a Salifert for my magnesium. I can't recommend any of them because they all have their flaws and they all have their benefits. Hannah's really nice because it gives you a number. If you're not really good at reading the colors, but I don't try to find like a number to stick to. I kind of observe the tank and see if there's anything changing, whether it be like colors or um, maybe my alkalinity is going up because the coral isn't growing. I kind of just go off of what I see in the tank. If I see changes, I'll test and see what's going on. And there's been times where the tank was doing really well, and I seen the forest fire digi when it lost its color on the skin. It never lost its polyp color or its polyp extension, but it did lose its skin color. So I tested, and my phosphates were like I think they got up to like 0.5 on my API test kit. So I started running some GFO to lower them, and it started getting its color back. It's a slow process, but it works out. And I don't run it in a reactor. I just put it in a bag, put it in my back chamber, and let the water kind of run over it. It's not as abrasive, I guess you would say, on pulling phosphates out of the system, because if you run it in a reactor, you can really take out the phosphates really quick. So like recommendations wise, Salifert makes really good test kits. Red Sea makes good test kits, but again, all of these test kits come with a margin of error in them. So whatever test kit you're comfortable with using, just keep using it. If you decide to change, just keep using the one that you change to. Don't try and chase any certain numbers, especially if the tank is looking really well. That's probably one of my biggest recommendations is if the corals are looking good and the tank's looking good, don't go chasing a number, because it could end up in some bad things. Not like terrible in the aspect of, I mean, you could kill some stuff, but you start trying to bring stuff down too quickly and you could run into a bacterial bloom. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, you guys all know this if you're in the hobby. There's really quite a few things that can happen. So I guess whatever you're comfortable with is probably the best answer for that. I use API because I'm comfortable with them. They're cheap. You can buy a whole Reef Masters kit. I think it's like $50 and it has everything. But if you're looking for, an inexpensive one that's relatively accurate, Salifert is good. Hannah's are, like I said, super nice because they give you that number. And but don't chase numbers with the Hannah kits. That's my biggest thing. A lot of people, want a certain number and they want to stick to that certain number. And you got to remember you're trying to make an ecosystem here inside of a glass box. So things can change. Just if you're trying to change something, do one thing at a time and do it slowly. That's probably my best advice I could give on that. But I've used pretty much all of them not all of them, but I've used a good majority of the test kits. And the color reading ones can definitely be hard if you don't have the right light. And if you do test them and you use a certain light, like a certain room, sorry about that. If you use a certain room light, use that room light every time if you're going to read a color changing one. You'd be surprised how different a test kit can look under different lights. It's quite crazy. I obviously always recommend, if you can, like a bright lit room as you can get. That's the best thing to do. Same thing when you're testing salinity. If you have a refractometer, you want as bright of a light as you can get to be able to do that that test. So, and that's probably one of the biggest ones that a lot of people should be checking is salinity. Salinity is the first one to check on all your tests. Ugh. Pull it back so you guys can get a little bit of a more full tank shot. I have a envelope up here that's blocking the light, so it helps. So again, I'm not sure why YouTube is using my macro lens, but it is. I wonder if I can change that. But it's still not terrible. The new filter looks good. Doesn't look too far off, but again, it's under full blue, so it's super colorful. Cotton goby came out, snagged a piece of food floating around. Here, actually, might be able to. That dude's not terrible. It's so funny how camera shy the green chromis are. There's 3 green chromis in this tank. You'd never know it in the videos. Anytime I shoot a video of this tank, they hide. But there is a bully in the tank as well. There's a ORA purple dotty back. He's a bit of a bully. I did the mirror trick for a couple weeks and it worked. He's definitely not as bad as he was, and he definitely cut back a little bit, but when you take that mirror down, he's kind of goes back to his old ways. But the clowns are up in the right hand corner right underneath the return. Not sure why they decided to choose that spot, but that's been their spot since literally the first week I put them in here. The rock structure has changed a little bit. When I first did it, I kind of had like 2 separate rock structures and they kind of hung out on one of them. Then when I changed it up to how it is now, they homed up there in the right hand corner, and that's pretty much where they hang out. They do kind of free swim every once in a while, but that's their spot. It's not ideal because you don't get to see them. They're beautiful fish. It's a Maine Blizzard is the female, and I have a black lightning clown as the male. They don't fight or scrap or anything like that, even since day one. No issues. And honestly, for the longest time, the Dottie wasn't an issue either. But over the last 2 months, he's kind of, I don't know if he decided to just be an asshole or what. But it's a work in progress on getting him out of the tank. I need to put him somewhere, so I don't want to bring him to the local fish store, quote unquote, because local fish store for us is not local. It's a hour and a half to 2 hours away, and I got to catch them and bag them and do all that fun stuff. So the goal is to set up a 20 long that I have in my garage. I've had it for a long time. Set it up as a frag system and throw them in there. But as for right now, he'll have to try and be a good community member. When he starts being a dickhead again, I'll put the mirror up. But I always thought he'd be pretty bad on the what's it called, the clown goby, but he isn't. He didn't really bother him from the start, and hasn't really bothered him at all. Clown goby does hide inside the coral. That's where he sits. Can't really see it right now, but he's right inside that guy right there, the candy cane. He's in that thing all day long, all night long. That's where he sleeps. That's where he hangs out. But yeah, the chromis are super camera shy. You can't see it because there's a shadow, but right underneath that candy cane is literally, there's a green chromis sitting right there just looking. But because it's so shadowed and the camera can't pick it up, but he is in there. And the other two are in there as well. They're just hiding behind him in the rock structure for whatever reason. They do not like it when the camera's out. But what are you going to do? Probably only got another 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes on. I gotta go down, hang out with the kiddos. It's just me and the kiddos here tonight. Wife is off at work, and it is summer vacation. Well, not summer. Sorry, spring vacation. So, hang out with the kiddos. That's what I've been doing all week. And it's definitely not been a bad week for it. Yeah, fingerprints all over the glass from me touching it. Probably not just me either. Probably my daughter JoJo. It's kind of funny watching the Duncan. Looks like this tank really doesn't have that much flow. They're kind of just dancing. The tentacles are dancing, but I mean, up top where the SPS is, there's a good tumbling amount of flow up there, that's for sure. You can kind of see it underneath the green slimer. The zoas are really moving quite a bit. Even above the candy cane, they're moving quite a bit. This tank has a fairly high turnover rate, I guess you would say. Not through the filtration, but just in the wave makers. But hopefully you guys are enjoying the view. The view is always something to come up and take time to enjoy. That's one of the biggest things I like about this, and I try to do more than anything. I don't try to do too much to the system. I try to let it do its own thing and just enjoy it. But I could be here for, hours just staring at the tank. I'm sure everybody feels that a little bit with their own tank, so. But. Mm. Hmm. That's kind of interesting. Didn't notice that until now. Got a little bit of a certain Zoa die-off over there. It's probably a little bit of a purple monsters, or just that. They're monsters. They kind of take over, so. There was one kind of mixed in with the middle of them, and it looks like it has been defeated. There's about 5 or 6 polyps in the mix, and they are all shriveled up, so I'm guessing the purple monsters kind of did a number on them. But probably gonna cut the live here soon. If you guys have any questions, definitely ask, but you can always ask in any of the videos I post. Hopefully this week I'll get a video out. I got a couple of videos I need to do that I just haven't done yet. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, you can always ask on any of the videos I've posted. If you like them, obviously like them. It always helps out. But yeah, I'll cut it short tonight, and you guys have a good night. And if you're on vacation like I am with the kiddos, which hopefully it's been fun and not too stressful for you guys. But yeah, that's the main reef, guys. Have a good night, and take her easy.